we're going to be working with the gradient tool to create some of the different effects that we have in these compositions. I've been working with some options and I will show you a few of them. So you can see that there are many different things that can be done. I'm going to start with a new file. And it's the same ratio for the landscape, 3300 to 2550. And I'm going to select my gradient tool, have my black and white, a default color, and I'm going to use my marquee tool to create a couple of shapes here in space and apply my gradient. And notice that my opacity is set to 100%. So if I go from black to white, I get a sense of contrast there. I can draw a couple more of these. Oops, I want to make that taller, let it go off the picture plane a little bit. And I want to lighten the value. Now I could lighten the value by adjusting the opacity or lightening the color. Well, that's fine. Moved it up a little bit. Select my gradient tool and now I have a lighter value. Let's do one more, a little bit further away in space, moving upward and making it thinner. So it looks like it's smaller, and I'm going to lighten that up dramatically and do the same thing. Select my gradient tool, and now I have a nice sense of things disappearing at the top as if they're being affected by a sense of light. We can also use the shapes tool, and I'm going to use my black and white automatic shape here, and if I want to draw an ellipse, I just drag it until it's the shape I want. And notice I have the gradient. In the shape setting here, making sure I'm in the shape mode, my fill can be either solid or gradient. And I don't need a stroke line. Now I can also double click on my shapes layer there and adjust the type of effect that I get with a gradient. You can see the different options that we have here. Gives you some unique things to work with. I'm going to go for radial, and I'm going to click on check reverse. So it gives a sense of a direction of light. Now it feels like there's light up here, so I'm going to drag that off in that direction as if it's being lit by the same light source. We can also adjust the scale, make it lighter overall, either really light or just a little bit, depending on what you want. And you can always change this layer by accessing it in the layer. I'm going to say OK to that. And we can also use the pen tool to create some unique shapes. And we can double click that layer and change the effect of that. Angle, radial, reflected. Reflected gives a nice bright look. We can adjust the scale, get some more contrast in there, change the angle. Well, that really changed it pretty dramatically. So, this can be really fun to create some unexpected kinds of compositional arrangements in a design. I'm going to say OK and leave it at that. We can also work with the brush tool. I would have to go back to my layer and say I wanted to draw some shape I can draw a line, hold my shift key down to pick up that line, change directions. I can take it all the way off the picture plane here and come back in almost as if I'm drawing a roadway or a path in perspective. And then I can use my quick selection tool to select that area and select my gradient, and I can do the same kind of an idea. I could make it a lighter value if I want. I could also, instead of doing just that, I could reduce the opacity so I get some transparency. There are a lot of things that we can work with using the gradient tool to create unique qualities in our design.